Hello, everybody. I hope you enjoyed dinner. Dessert's coming out soon. And I wanted to make a few announcements before we honor Dana Dahlgren. First of all, I don't do this, but I really want to thank the hotel staff for the incredible job they have done today. We ran overtime. It's just amazing how they're so accommodating and flexible in terms of what was going on, and we survived the overtime and everything else and the delays. A couple of housekeeping measures. First of all, those 35th anniversary bottles cost a lot of money. Please take them home with you. They're in the back. There are a lot of them left on the table. Actually, you're supposed to take those home. So they really come in handy on a hot or a cold day. So please do that. And also, we have those photographs. Remember the photographs that the photographer took on the first hole? Well, up here on this round table are all of the foursomes. So please take your photograph with you and bring it home so you can prove to your boss that you worked very hard at a CFA meeting. So, let's face it, it's first things first. We have to talk about the golf. And what was really interesting was a couple things. Number one, when I'm trying to figure out who's playing with who, there's a lot of things that go into this. First of all, we know that Trespa's not playing with Fundermax. Durkan's not playing with Trespa or Fundermax. Cosentino's not playing with Trespa, Fundermax, or Durkan. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do with these people? And then I got to balance out the handicaps. And then people do send me emails, I want to play with so-and-so and such and such. And then I ask that person who the other person wants to play with, and he says, no, I don't want to play with them. Do not put me in a car with him. And then I got to worry about golfing ability. So I got to worry about handicaps, and I wanted to try to make sure that it was balanced in some way. And we had 9 teams, and 7 of those 9 teams came within 3 shots of coming in first place. So it was pretty cool. The winner was 4 under, and the 7th place team was 1 under. So, those are a couple of putts here and there. I'm sure the folks that finished 1 under, 2 under can kind of figure out which putts they missed and the shots they should have had. But it was really just a really great time out there. The weather finally cooperated. You have no idea how bad it has been. We've had some really bad luck. So anyway, first place team is Mario DeFonte. This is a $40 gift certificate for each of them. Tom Hall, Ryan Noble, and my son, the golfer, lawyer, Ross Sutton. Come on up.
I'll take everybody else.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
And so there was a 3-way tie. They were 4 under. There was a 3-way tie for second place at -3. And there is a way to figure out how you break that tie. You start with the most difficult hole, the first handicap hole. You keep going until the tie is broken. And it took 5 holes to break the tie. So that's quite unusual. And so the second place goes to myself, Bob DeLuca, and Lori McLeod. Come on up, Lori. Congratulations. Great. And third place, again, breaking the tie, we were all 3 under, is Tomas Echeverria, Josh Camp, Jeremy Miller, and Mike Harris. Come on up. Congratulations. Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
Where's our? I'll give you both of them. Buy some tequila with that. I told Josh to buy some tequila with that gift certificate. So we also have, well, closest to the pin was Bob DeLuca Sr., 9 feet 6 inches. And by the way, I did make the putt on 17 for birdie. So he's already taken his prize and gone home. And then longest drive for men was John Walden. Hit the ball dead into a very stiff wind, 236 yards. Come on up, John. Very impressive. I mean, it was probably a 30-mile-per-hour wind. That should have gone 295 yards without the wind. And finally, she hit the ball 236 yards off the tee. The women's long drive champion is Lori McLeod. Come on up, Lori. Good job. Excellent. So we started this tradition of a Lifetime Achievement Award probably 20 years ago, where we felt that there were certain people in this industry who deserve special recognition for the work that they have done, both for their companies and for the industry as a whole. And, you know, one of the things is when you're a board member of CIFA, I always, part of the orientation is you have to try to put your CIFA hat on to make decisions and take your company hat off. Now, the people that Dana worked with are not here, and I can tell you that he did take his Kiwani hat off at all times and put his CIFA hat on for all the years that he served on the board. And he did it, and it's hard to do, and it's tough to do. And I'm sure if the people who hired him and he worked for would not be happy with that. Dana, what did you do? You're supposed to keep your Kiwani hat on. But he didn't. He had his CIFA hat on. So I have scrolling in the background all of the things that we did while Dana was on the board. And it is really quite amazing, he knows, and the people that served on the board at that time know this, I say crazy things like, you know what, I'm in San Jose, California for a CIFA meeting. I think I should go to Shanghai. And people like Dana said, all right, David, why don't you go to Shanghai, And so where did I go? I went to Analytica, China, and I don't know anybody in China. We had one Chinese member, I think, at that point, Ultralabs. And I started passing out invitations, both in English and Chinese, to come to a dinner. And we wound up with 110 people at this dinner. And so these are the things that they let me do. And since I was on such a roll in Shanghai, I said, you know what? There's a meeting in Dubai in January of 2009. I think I should go to Dubai, too. And Dana was like, yeah, go ahead, go to Dubai. It rhymes with Shanghai, so you might as well go to Dubai, And so we started the tradition of doing these events overseas. And as a result of that, the membership just exploded overseas. We brought people overseas. Lloyd Fisk and Malcolm Barksdale made a presentation in Dubai. We had people go to Shanghai and make presentations. Dario Tonelli's here. Leslie Asher's here. And we just started reaching out to the international community. And the board, with CIFA, with Dana there, let me do that. The board could have just simply said, no, don't do it. But as a result, we have 15 countries represented at this meeting. We have members from 27 different countries, and it was because of decisions that Dana made back in 2008 and 2009 that really has made all of this possible. And then we did a lot of other things, and including having members, give the members the ability to test a product. That became really important. Eventually, we went a step further and said, listen, if you don't have at least one product that's laboratory grade and you manufacture laboratory furniture and related equipment, you're not allowed to be a CIFA member. And we took a hit. Okay, we lost about 20 members because of that. But we thought in the long run, it was in the best interest of CIFA to do that. And it's funny how, some trade associations think short term. We were always thinking long term. And Dana was part of that long term thinking. And there were just so many things that took place. The funny one, I don't know if it's funny, was this desk reference that we cobbled together. We actually copied the recommended practices, and it was kind of like this, but then let's throw the bylaws in and let's throw this in, let's kind of make it a little bit thicker, and so we did that. And there was discussion at the board level. Oh, I don't know if we should do that, but Dana was one of those guys that said, no, I think we should. Let's put together a desk reference. And you had to bind it together back in the good old days. It wasn't digitized. And eventually, it has become a 500-page book. I pass out thumb drives all over the world like it's candy. We just had Halloween, and you'd pass it out all over the place and go, that's not a blank flash drive. That's got 500 pages of recommended practices in it. But he started that. Okay, he was on the board when that whole process started. As crude as it was, it started that way. And now, as Kurt Rindox mentioned yesterday, we're now at a point where we are refining it. We have a professional editor. The document's going to be available online to the world for free. We used to charge $79 for it online. People would pay for it. But it's more valuable to us to just give it away. Fortunately, we don't need the money. And so it's more important to get it out there to the world. Once we have it finalized, edited in a professional way, it will then be translated into at least Mandarin and also Spanish. So that will be a project. We hope to complete that by the end of 2024. So from that, start of just cobbling together a desk reference, we've come this far that we need it in different languages. And he's just like, Dana has provided just steady leadership throughout on the board. And, when you're he was on the board for a long time. So, you're on the board, and then you become the secretary-treasurer, and then you become the vice chairman, and then you become the chairman. And we actually didn't have any, limits of how long you could serve on the board. And he was on the board for a very long time. And there was just so many things that happened with him on the board that it's laid the foundation for who we are today. Look at this room filled with people at this dinner. So what I want to do is bring up some of the people from Kewanee who know Dana very well to speak about Dana as a person and as an employee of Kewanee. And who would like to start? Okay, Ryan Noble.
Awesome. Evening, everybody. So I'm Ryan Noble. Can you hear me? Okay. I'm the Vice President of Sales and Marketing. I took over for Dana in 2018. I'm also an individual that figured out you don't have to be good at golf, you just have to pick the right team. So I appreciate Ross and holding us out that entire time. So I wanted to start off and thanking everybody for CIFA, Dave, Barbara, Ross, everybody that helps put this on. This is my 5th CIFA event. And so far I have walked through snow, I have played golf in a hurricane, and I saw one of the best comedians ever, I think, down in Fort Lauderdale. Sorry, Dave, I had to bring that up. But at the end of the day, we're here to support and give an award to Dana. So, For myself, I am not from this industry. It's a very unique industry. It's a very close industry. And what I found out was the collaboration that comes together is extremely important. Relationships are extremely important here. And for 6 months, Dana would actually come in every Friday and spend time with me for my first 6 months of employment. He would take me to some extremely interesting restaurants. One day we had to drive about 40 minutes to go have chicken that you had to pay cash for, that he swore to me was the best fried chicken ever. Not quite sure I agree with it, but it was good. But anyways, what that did is it allowed me the opportunity and the time to understand why we're here. It allowed me the opportunity to understand CIFA. It allowed me the opportunity to forge now friendships and continue down that road. So I really appreciate that. As you guys know, I actually did not have an opportunity to work with Dana on a day-to-day basis, but he did mention me more than once within the industry of how to get through this. And during those tough times, we all went through COVID, which I always said was difficult, but everything that followed after that, inflation, labor, and so on, and those tough days, I would often think of Dana and what he would do to hold his cool. There was no liquor in my office because I did check the first day I walked in, but and Lisa Ryan would come in as well, and we would scour each around. But those words of wisdom really helped me to become the person I am today, and I really appreciate that. So Dana, thank you very much for everything that you've done.
I've known Dana for a while. I mean, I think you started as a vice president in 2004, probably been with Kewanee since, 89? Something like that. So I started in 85, so we both have a long history with Kewanee. But I'll tell you, I went through a lot of, when you stay with a company for a long time, you see a lot of people come and go. So you see a lot of different salespeople involved. But I'll tell you I just want to say two things that Dana left with me as I was going through my ropes. One was that he'd always say, well, first of all, you just got to figure it out. Whatever it was. He'd come in with some project, some new product development thing, something he wanted. We didn't know how to do it or how to take it on. Figure it out. That was his answer, and it was motivation and the drive to get it done. I love that. The second thing is that he said, as we look through projects and you're working on jobs and you're looking at all these bids, and we go through these, checklists that we'd see a lot of, he'd say, the thing is, you never say no, but always put a price on yes. I just absolutely love those two philosophies, and they did the company well, and we got a lot of things done over the years, and I appreciate all that Dana has done and his leadership, and it's a lot of fun working for him, and we developed a lot of new products, and I really, really enjoyed it, so thank you, Dana. Really good time. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. So about an hour or two ago, I found out I was going to say something. So Dana and I have been in this situation before. We traveled to India one time together, and we found out we were featured speakers in an event at our facility in India, so we had to figure this out on the fly. So not too bad at this. I'm pretty good at it. But Dana hired me 15 years ago, and he hired me because I was working for a company that was being dismantled, and he took a chance on a guy that wasn't in this industry. And I've always appreciated that. It's been the ride of my life, and I do appreciate that. I also remember he took me to lunch the first day, and he said, "This is it. There's no more lunches." So, and if you know Dana, that's kind of how it was. But But he trusted me. He gave me a task, and he expected me to perform. And 15 years later, I'm still with this company, and I'm grateful beyond belief. And Dana, I appreciate all that you ever did in the time we worked together. I really do, from the bottom of my heart. So thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay, so before we hear from Dana, I just want to tell one story, how oddly interconnected we are in a very strange way. So the reason why I'm here was that 35 years ago, I had a client from a company, Duralab, Joe Angara. And he was my first corporate client, and he just said to me back in 1988, 35 years ago, to listen, I have to go to a meeting in Florida. It was in Orlando. He said, why don't you come and play golf with me? And it was the first CIFA meeting. And I just went to play golf with a friend and a client. That's all it was. Now, Joe Angara's father, Nicholas, worked with Bob DeLuca's Jr.'s grandfather and Bob Sr.'s father. Back in the day when they worked with Cy Fiance at Laboratory Furniture Company, which was on Long Island too. So there's this odd connection between the Fiances, the DeLucas, the Angaras, and myself. Now, how did he get stuck in this industry? Here's the interesting story. He was working in a liquor store in California. And this kid comes in, a young guy comes in, I don't say kid, because he's at a liquor store. The guy comes in and offers him a job. And it was Eddie Fiance, who now works for Lab Crafters. So get a load of that. The only reason why he's here is because he started working for Eddie Fiance in California when Laboratory Furniture Company had an office there. So it's a very strange connection. What is that, 15 degrees of separation or whatever, or 10 degrees, whatever it is. 1975. Let's see, I'm still in college. I hadn't gone to law school yet, whatever. But that's the interesting connection between all this through Cy Fiance, through the DeLucas, through Angara, back to Dana. And so a lot of you will be part of that connection as you go through life and work in this industry. There's a lot of interconnectedness between all of us. So it's very interesting. So with that, I'd like Dana to come up and present him with a plaque in honor of this Lifetime Achievement Award.
Thank you. I'm going to set that down. I won't keep you long. Wow, that was something, and it's really intimidating to see yourself, from bygone years, and your physique as it changes up on the big screen. But I want to thank SIFA, David, Barbara, especially my pals at Kiwanee for this recognition. Your story about Eddie Fiance is true, but what I've never said in this kind of a public forum is he used to also buy pot from my next door neighbor. So we had more than just the liquor store connection. But and literally I was in college at the time, and he hired me as an estimator, and I was able to, make my hours work with my school schedule, and that's what I did. I was 20 years old in 1975, and spent 5 years with Eddie. Then ISEC hired me. I was their first California employee, in 1980. I worked for them for almost 10 years. Jeff is applauding. His father started that company. And in late 1989, I went to work for Kiwani, and until I retired 5 years ago. Every day is a Saturday. But I'm very appreciative of my time in the industry. I've always liked the business. I always felt what we do is important, that very important work happens with our products. I've always enjoyed the people. All those years with CIFA, and it was, the previous century when I started coming to CIFA meetings. It's really something to see an organization that started as, I think, literally 12 or 15 people, maybe the first meeting that I went to, become what it is today, and David and Barbara and get all the credit. All those nice accomplishments he gave me credit for in the board are all BS, but we were all there talking about all this stuff, and the proof is in the pudding. The RPs, the desk references, how the industry views it, the inclusion of the architectural community and the laboratory consultants is huge for this organization, and it has made real credibility for it. So once again, I'm going to stop talking. Thank you so much for this honor. I really appreciate it. It's really great to see my friends, and hope I can see more and talk to you later on this evening, and as I drink more, because I got no place to be tomorrow except the airport. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
So, we never, we paid for entertainment once, that comedian. Okay. And back in the day, Dana remembers this, we used to just have people come up and tell jokes. That was the form of our entertainment. It was free, so we didn't care. And Steve Kirsten from Water Saver would tell that same joke over and over again with the accent and stuff. And Joe and Gary would tell his jokes, and Hackman would tell his jokes. And they were all the same jokes, but we'd hear them year in and year out. And we'd all laugh anyway. Two things. We have this room until 9 o'clock. I can probably stretch it out a little bit longer than that. So there's plenty of time to sit, to drink, and have fun. But if anybody wants to get up and say a few words about Dana, feel free to do that. We'll call this Open Mic Thursday night, So, because some of you have connections to Dana and memories, and it's fine to just come up here. If you need a couple more glasses of wine, you can do that too. But I'm going to leave this microphone open for all of you. So, I want to thank you all for coming. Don't forget your pictures. Those people there in the forest. Don't forget those bottles in the back. And enjoy the rest of the evening and the wine. Be well. Good night. See everybody tomorrow morning. But feel free to come up.